This is Gotham TV Podcast episode 127, our spoiler-filled discussion about the season finale of Gotham Season 4, A Dark Knight, episode 22, No Man's Land.
I'm David Mazouz, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Hey, this is Drew Powell. I play Butch Gilzean on Gotham, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Robin Lloyd Taylor, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Welcome back, Gothamites. Welcome back, fellow detectives. We're here with our spoiler-filled discussion about No Man's Land, the season finale of Gotham Season 4, but not the series finale, which is awesome news.
Absolutely. We have a Season 5.
Yes, we do.
Season 5 has landed.
Yes, hashtag renew Gotham TV Podcast has worked its magic, and we are been renewed as well. So we will be back with Gotham Season 5 when it comes in 2019.
Yes, cannot wait, because if this last episode of Season 4 is anything to go by, even though it's possibly only going to be 13 episodes for Season 5, we are in for an absolute treat. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Gothamites and fellow detectives, it will be a blast. We will really see how Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon get that dustpan and brush to tidy up the remnants of what is left of Gotham following an explosive finale at No Man's Land.
Yes, it's been a blast. It's explosive. Yes, that's absolutely our Gotham. They were totally trolling all the Gothamites, weren't they, with this episode? I think I put out on Twitter last week when a lot of the cast were saying goodbye after finishing the filming and coming up to the final episode, and I put out on Twitter, remember, everybody, Fox have seen this final episode, and if it goes the way I think it's going to go, we're getting a Season 5. I was right. I just want to say I was right for once in one of my predictions.
Absolutely. Brilliant. But before we start, I am one of your hosts, John. If you didn't already know, if you are watching us on YouTube, then this may be a new experience. So yes, I am one of the hosts, John, of Gotham TV Podcast. But of course, if you are an audio guy and gal, then absolutely, you'll have heard us say that before.
You probably will. And I am your other host, Derek, of Gotham TV Podcast, the longest running podcast about the TV show Gotham, confirmed for another season. What's also confirmed, the other thing we're going to be covering when probably Gotham finishes up its season next year, it's been confirmed that they are moving on to another show, a new show, not connected to Gotham as such, but a prequel of sorts coming from Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon, the creators of this show, called Pennyworth. It's finally coming, John. We've been talking about this for almost 2 years.
Yes, it is. It's not Pennywise, everyone. No. Like I immediately thought back to. I think the updated version of it completely had me freaked out for so long. As soon as they said Pennyworth, in fact, when Derek said there's a TV series called Pennyworth coming out, I'm going, what, they're taking on the clown from It? But no, it is Alfred in his days before Bruce Wayne. But his days with Thomas Wayne.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe his days as an army officer. And apparently it's set in London as well. So, yeah, this is going to be really interesting, potentially. And we'll just have to see how it all comes together and how it flies. But certainly really excited to cover Pennyworth.
Yes. Not Pennywise. A lot less hiding under your bed sheets. For
absolutely. I'd be completely freaked out if it was Pennywise.
Also, unlike Gotham, they have given us a little bit more information about this. They've said that it's a 60s set TV show. So Gotham is a timeless TV show, but we know it takes place after the 60s because they've got their flip phones. So possibly we will see the actor playing Alfred Pennyworth in some cool Austin Powers looks.
It will be the swinging 60s in London. It will be pick your nose collars. It will be flares. It will be the sexual revolution in good old London town.
Yes. But it has been confirmed as 10 episodes. So combined together, if the Gotham confirmation, or if Gotham eventually confirmed there's going to be 13 episodes combined together in 2019, we should be getting 23 full episodes of this DC universe within the Gotham world. So kind of looking forward to that. At least we're not missing out on quality content.
Exactly. And of course, if you want to listen to all things Pennyworth, as well as listen to our coverage to date of Gotham, as well as the up-and-coming season 5 in probably about a year's time, maybe.
Well, we think it's January.
Yeah, okay, 8 months.
Yeah.
Then please head on over and subscribe to Gotham TV Podcast over on your podcast catcher of choice. Head on over to gothamtvpodcast.com and go to the podcast catcher of choice. In the subscribe area, you can do Apple Podcasts, you can do Google Play, any good or evil player for your choice. And of course, please rate us and leave a review, because sharing the love is absolutely sharing the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I think we need to get on with our spoiler-filled review. Derek, what are some of the episode details?
Absolutely. Just one more thing before we get into that. We do have our competition winner, which will be announced at the end of the show, so make sure you stick around for that. That's for a prize, which is the upcoming statue of Penguin from Gotham. It's not out yet. It'll be out at the end
Let's
of June.
hope it comes out.
So, yes, really hoping it comes out. But that will be the prize. If that doesn't end off coming out, we will think of something else and keep in contact with the winner. But we'll be getting there at the end of the show.
Yeah, if not, we can get you a bumper family pack of squares or other flavored crisps of your choosing. Maybe some Cadbury's Dairy Milk, you name it. Maybe even a 24 pack of Penguin chocolate bars.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, nice little tie into Gotham there. But hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, arms crossed, everything else crossed, that, yes, this statue is released.
It looks cool.
It really does.
So really looking forward to it. As you said, though, John, let's get into the episode. This episode was directed by Nathan Hope, who's done 5 episodes of Gotham so far. He did Red Hood in season 1, a nice little throwback to that in this episode.
I love that episode.
Red gloves of Jerome rather than the red hood of the character of the Joker in the comic books. He also did Follow White Rabbit and Destiny Calling in season 3, and he did the wonderful Let Them Eat Pie in season 4 of this show.
Yum.
That was a little musical part with our wonderful Professor Pig. So a great episode. And he did a brilliant job on this one, I have to say. The episode was written by executive producer John Stevens and by Seth Boston. Seth Boston has done 4 episodes of the show before. He did Dead Man Feels No Cold, Gentle Art of Making Enemies in season 3, and he did The Sinking Ship, The Grand Applause this season. I think that was another one of our favourites this season as well.
Yeah, really good.
As a ship fell apart during that episode, unfortunately. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for the episode?
Sure. As the army comes in to take control of Gotham and the city continues to be evacuated, Jeremiah Valeska, back behind bars at the GCPD, warns a skeptical Gordon of more bombs and destruction to come. Meanwhile, Jim is kidnapped by the Riddler and narrowly escapes death after Leslie Thompkins convinces Ed Nygma to leave Gotham. But Ra's al Ghul's plan swings into action as a bomb detonates, killing the Mayor of Gotham and forcing Bruce Wayne to leave a hospitalised Selina Kyle to confront Jeremiah at the GCPD. But he in turn is kidnapped and taken to Ra's, where he is rescued by an unexpected team of Babs, Tabs, Alfred, and the Penguin, who arrive, saving Bruce and killing Ra's al Ghul. As Bruce is saved, Jeremiah's bombs destroy every bridge out of Gotham, reducing the city to lawlessness. As the city is carved up between competing criminal gangs, Penguin takes his revenge out on Tabitha Galavan for the death of his mother, and Bruce Wayne is forced to make a life-changing decision and to come to terms with his future in a Gotham that is cut off from the outside world.
Oh yes, the Dark Knight is coming to
It really was
No Man's
very
Land.
Dark Knight Rises, all those bridges being taken out. A good old nod to the third film in Christopher Nolan's trilogy, for sure.
Which in turn was taken from the No Man's Land comic book, so it was a nod to a nod, I suppose.
A nod to a nod to a
but
nod,
certainly
absolutely.
the cinematics in the scene absolutely looked like a Christopher Nolan movie. That moment when they're all standing looking at the bridges blowing in a row was like, how have they paid for the budget for this from Casa FX? Like, you know,
Yeah, it was
great
very well done, I have to say. I think all of this season has had some really fantastic special effects, and it was good to see a good bit of explosive CGI being detonated by those guys who sit in front of a computer. for long hours putting all these effects together, because it really does add to the feel, to the mood, to the atmosphere of this show, and it's done really well for the TV budget that it has.
Absolutely. Well, they have won an Emmy before, cause FX, who do the
absolutely
the work for the show, so totally understandable. And if they don't go up for another Emmy for this episode, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. But let's get into our top 5 case notes as usual, John. We are going to kick it off with Ra's and Jeremiah's plan for Gotham. Case note number 1.
Yes, and here to begin with, we have Selina in hospital from Jeremiah's shot. And of course, she is potentially paralyzed here. We get the suggestion from Jeremiah that he put the bullet through one of her vertebrates. Is this potentially going to be Oracle?
Maybe.
Who knows? We were possibly expecting to see one of Selina's cat lives kick in here and just essentially see her jump back off the gurney and start kicking some ass again. But no, not at all.
Not this time.
She is in proper dire straits with this shot to the gut. And, again, really good seeing the expression of Bruce, his concern. And it really plays nicely as well when he is effectively forced to leave her to go to Jeremiah, because his plan, Ra's plan, I should say, with Jeremiah as the executioner of that plan, really starts to play out here. And it's so well done. I mean, Jeremiah there in the jail cell of the GCPD, again, I think another nod to the Nolan films, this time The Dark Knight. He looks very Ledger-esque there. So really, really nice little nods all over here to comics and films.
I was just waiting for it to
good.
break out into applause there, just like Heath Ledger does in The Dark Knight as he sits staring out at the GCPD. Love the little touch, because remember, at his wake a couple of weeks ago, Jerome's crew tagged all of the GCPD with the eyes of the Joker that we've been seeing in the city back from season 1. I love the touch that in the cell above his head are the two eyes looking over him. Really, really cool. Also, cannot forget to say that scene with Selina and Bruce in the hospital, where Selina is pleading to Bruce not to leave her, is beautifully played by Camren Bicondova. A really good moment from her. She really realizes how screwed up she is now, how ruinous this could be for her life.
Yeah, it's really good. I love it when, Bruce goes, I'm not going to see Selina Kyle, I'm going to kill Jeremiah. Really, really good. Jeremiah has gotten Bruce absolutely fired up here. So superb. But what we have here is that Jeremiah has got more bombs, or so he claims, across the city. He has at least one, because he blows up City Hall with the mayor and his entourage in as Ra's al Ghul watches on. So yeah, that was really fun to see the City Hall blown to smithereens. Yeah. And of course,
another Mayor of Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. The mayors of Gotham really do tumble. And, he was trying to stop the evacuation as well, but ultimately, Jim Gordon is tipped off here that, there are potentially more problems. He does feel as though Jeremiah is bluffing, but nonetheless, he knows how crazy this guy is, even though Jeremiah wouldn't think so. And really, Bruce then is forced back against his will by the army who have come in. Martial law has been put in place, and to try and find really what Jeremiah is up to. And of course, this is another part of the spoke in this wheel of Ra's al Ghul, where ultimately they come in and kidnap Bruce and escape with Jeremiah. One thing I really thought, it was something that you'd said last week about Cameron Monaghan being inspired by Hannibal Lecter and Anthony Hopkins. It was really, really good to see this scene, because you really got that sense where he's strapped in to the trolley. I was literally expecting there to be a hockey mask behind... on his face as the camera pans round from behind. But no. But nonetheless, the voice, the intonation, the delivery was very Hannibal the Cannibal.
Absolutely, I loved that the army leader that's in the GCPD is going, "Have you got him prepared like I wanted to?" I was expecting the other guy in the army to go, "Yes, exactly like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs." It's writ large here, and totally rightly so. It's a great moment for Jeremiah in this scene. Really, really enjoyed it. But the idea of this plan, it's really interesting. So what you hear in the episode last week from Ra's al Ghul is that he's giving the plan to Jeremiah to take down the city of Gotham, to turn it into the Dark Island that Bruce needs to become the Dark Knight, effectively. Unfortunately, Selina was just a cog in that plan.
Yeah.
She was to be shot, to get Jeremiah arrested and brought to the place where they were keeping all the bombs, and then for him to get kidnapped. For Bruce to get kidnapped and the bombs to get taken back by his crew to be sent off to the bridges. Ra's is one smart guy. He's been around for 2,000 odd years, so he knows how to do plans to blow up cities. So it's a good one, though. I really
Do you think he was there at the sacking of Rome? Probably.
I think he was, or at least
the toppling of the Tower of Babylon.
I believe the League of Shadows do claim all of that. They claim that was their right, as their
Fire of London.
They sack all of those cities. And I do believe you're quoting directly from Batman Begins right there, George.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, really good to see this plan revealed. You know, that effectively creating Bruce's Dark Island, where he's going to be trapped on, or not necessarily trapped as it transpires, but ultimately where he decides to stay. He decides to fight for Gotham.
Yeah.
And obviously he has that really difficult choice of not going with Selina Kyle and Alfred, but asks Alfred to look after Selina, to keep an eye on her, make sure that she recovers. So yeah, he's making a really interesting choice here. And again, one probably that whilst Ra's is unsuccessful, then he's seen it in the tea leaves, so to speak, within the demon's head.
Yeah.
That future that he is desperately trying to bring to reality to make sure that he has his heir. But of course, with that, on to case note 2, because Ra's al Ghul is certainly having a problem with his demon's head. He is most certainly not firing on all cylinders with regards to that power, and there is a suggestion that Barbara still has a bit of that old fuel left within her.
She's
Case
certainly
note
got a
2,
fire.
Barbara is offered eternity by Ra's. Yes, he was absolutely lying to Barbara. Some of the demon's head is still within her. He hasn't managed to capture all of it. And the lady in the picture was not a whore, but someone who he absolutely cared for, wanted her to stand with him for the rest of eternity, but she refused. And now he offers her doppelganger the chance to do the same thing. He offers Barbara the chance at becoming eternal like himself.
Oh, can we call her the Babselganger?
The Babselganger, indeed.
like
yes. She is the doppely Babsy ganger of Barbara Kean.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Ra's isn't very good with his choice of people to put his trust in, really, is he? You've got Bruce, who basically has now killed him twice, who he put his trust in and calls his heir. You've got Babs, who's killed him this time and who's constantly gone after him.
Well, with the help of Bruce.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, because she can't kill him on her own. But he puts his trust in her in this scene and kind of tells her the whole plan. But she teams up with Barbara, Alfred, Tabitha and Penguin, and it's a great moment. I love that they do this in Gotham at the end of each season. They bring all of the cast that haven't really spent a huge amount of time together on the warpath against the big evil or the big bad. Great to see these scenes with Tabitha and Alfred and Penguin and Babs. I'm not going to say that again, I promise. But really good to have them all fighting alongside each other to take down these two freaks who've joined together in Gotham. I love how Barbara says that as she walks in. She goes, "Hey, Bruce." "Hi, freak," to Jeremiah. Great little moment.
Really good. Great little team up as well. It's just that unusual one. I love the fact that, obviously with Babs and Tabs isn't unusual. Alfred is there, but then the Penguin is kind of, well, who do I get to kill? I want a bit of the action.
Absolutely.
Please, can I get involved in this this circus because I really want to go off killing. And of course, the thing that I love so much about Robin Lord Taylor's portrayal of Penguin is that he really gets that limp so well in the walk, to the extent where, you know, he's wielding this massive machine gun and he just looks so disjointed, uncoordinated. A real delight to behold, to see the Penguin here really coming back with his murderous instinct, which is just basically to fire off a machine gun wildly, but he certainly takes out a few of those League of Assassins.
He is good with that gun. He really is.
He really is.
And he does get a good shot in on Jeremiah, and he's the one that saves Tabitha from being killed by Jeremiah. Probably saving it for later, I think, as we'll talk about it.
There is motive behind that save, absolutely. It does look absolutely like a fluke, like a chance shot, but I suspect he really was there to make sure that she survived.
That would have sucked if his plan had failed because Jeremiah had killed her just then. Just one final thing on this point. I love the moment that the four of them are standing on the roof of this building looking out over the bridges blowing, and just the looks on each one of their faces, you can tell that their characters are going, what the heck just happened and what are we going to do now? The city is going to the dogs. It's blowing up and we're stuck here. Very cool. Let's get on to case note number 3. The end of Riddlekins?
Well, is it? Lee, you know, Lee stabs Riddler, Riddler stabs Lee, kissy, stabby, stabby. I thought that was absolutely, typically Gotham fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Totally kitsch, totally over the top. Totally unexpected, because I mean, I was thinking, why, Leslie, have you left the knife in Riddler, as he pulls it out and then stabs her and then they kiss? So who knows what's going to happen to them after we see them lying stiff on more gurneys. There's a lot of gurneys in this episode, with Hugo Strange looking really, really happy that he's got another 2 people to experiment on.
Yes. The surprising return of the wonderful B.D. Wong as Professor Strange. Not Doctor Strange, just to clarify again. He's definitely not Doctor Strange.
He's not Doctor Strange.
Professor Strange. Doctor Strange is your favorite comic book character on the Marvel side.
Yes.
So, Professor
Most
Strange.
definitely he is not Doctor Strange, but he is a fantastic Strange in the DC world.
Yep.
I absolutely love this portrayal of Professor Strange by B.D. Wong. And he just oozes creepiness, sort of malicious science comes straight from him, I think.
Absolutely, the crazy professor, as we love to have him around. One thing I will point out about that scene, I love that the first stab comes from Leslie Thompkins, and as she stabs Ed, she goes, well, you probably would have got bored of me and killed me at some point.
Yeah,
and Ed replies, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you do, Ed, and I know this, you know. Great little moment there.
But it all comes from the fact that the Riddler has kidnapped Jim Gordon, because a few episodes ago, he saw Leslie and Jim have a moment, and of course, he is really wants to make sure that Lee completely forgets him, that she is free of her former fiance, and by that he means £50 at a time. He's going to make sure that Jim forgets her. I just couldn't imagine anything worse, being effectively toasted sandwiched between a pneumatic press and a really hard surface.
That's great.
And yeah, I also learnt that £450 is about the time when your ribs will start to break, if you're a healthy, fit person.
You see, medical doctor Leslie Thompkins, she knows all of these facts.
She knows so much.
Really cool. I also like the fact that Ed is saying, and the last people that were tested that were tested this on all died. So the last time this was used, the thing that I'm using on you, they all died because they don't know how to do it. One little thing that I want to say as well, I like that when he gets the offer from Leslie, Ed leaves, gives Jim the button, but the button is to control the thing crushing him. I was watching it going, little help, can somebody help me actually get out of this thing? If he pushes that button, it'll only crush him further. So I thought it was one of those things that you used to see in the Batman 66 show where the episode ends with they have 30 seconds to get out, what's going to happen? And then you just see Jim kind of getting out a couple of minutes later and meeting Leslie Thompkins. But I don't know how he did.
Well,
did he slide out? Is that the way it would be?
No, I would say the controls both raise it and lower it.
But
so
you genuinely
I'm sure.
see Jim looking at the big red button going, what am I supposed to do?
But that's the failsafe. That's to release it.
Oh, maybe.
I would say
Maybe.
that's the emergency stop / release. I would say.
Hopefully not the emergency crush button. Yeah.
But certainly he escapes a little thinner than he was when he started. On the basis that Leslie is leaving Gotham. She's done everything she wants to do or has to do in the Narrows. She has spread the stolen cash around. She has made sure that they are free from typhoid and syphilis, all this kind of stuff. And
Maybe.
she has led them to a point where they can now fend for themselves and lead, a leader from someone amongst them. And she promises the Riddler that she doesn't want Jim at all. And I think ultimately the interesting thing when it comes to Lee stabbing the Riddler is that both the Riddler, or Ed Nygma, and Jim Gordon have always tried to say who she is. And the really great line from Lee Thompkins here is, "Who are you to tell me who I am?" Really, really good.
So
because she is a very strong female character here, and I really like that, even to the point where she knows exactly what Ed is going to do. He potentially would kill her because either he gets way too suspicious of her, it winds up in his head, or he just ultimately gets bored of her and wants to move on. There aren't enough riddles.
I love that he admits that
really
she's
good.
right as well. He says, yeah, you're probably right. That's probably exactly what would happen. Jim does escape a little bit thinner, but now that he's a Hollywood husband and probably will use any type of diet, even if it's being in a big crushing machine.
I could do with a bit of that, actually.
I love that phone call that he makes to Bullock to say that he's free after this little detour from the main storyline, but a necessary one for the characters. He has that call with Harvey Bullock and he's like, "Where are you? Where have you been?" And Jim goes, "It's a long story. Don't even need to talk about it." It's fine.
I love that moment where Ed comes to kidnap Jim and he's doing his riddle and Jim is just like, "It's sleep, Ed, it's sleep." And he's like, the tranquilizer dart goes to the neck and he's like, "It's rude to interrupt."
Oh, it's so funny.
So good. I love those moments of comedy that you get from Gotham. It is a nice balance to, crazily insane Jeremiah or, some of the more uber violent aspects of this. I like the diversity of all of that within Gotham. And I think these little snippets of humor really do add to just that general feeling of pure and utter chaos in Gotham.
Absolutely. And that's why we love Gotham, because it has these interesting, funny moments along with the crazy moments. Can we get on to point 4, speaking of crazy moments?
Definitely.
This is my least favourite and probably my favourite moment. One of my favourite moments in the episode. Penguin's revenge. Was this a shock, John?
Big shock. Yeah. But so good because it really hammers back home to all the audience, to everyone, that Penguin is a master planner. I mean, we talk about Jeremiah, him being calculated and precise. This is precision revenge, if there ever was anything. And, going back to something from season 2, really nice to look back in Gotham in this final episode of season 4. And just the cold calculation of Oswald Cobblepot. And I think the determination of what he wanted to do, which was to cure Butch Gilzean of being effectively immortal himself, or at least being able to take bullets, have limbs hacked off. Get him sorted, get him recovered, all better, turn him back to Butch. I mean, I kind of had Butch's back, baby, just like he says in our opening, but only temporarily, because then, yes, bang, bang, and Penguin shoots it, all for the revenge of the death of his mother at the hands of Tabitha. So good. And I was just so shocked because absolutely have loved Butch Gilzean, really enjoyed Grundy. Drew Powell, we've interviewed him twice now, and he is such a good guy. He has had such a blast, I think, doing Gotham. He's gone from probably being sort of just a recurring character with regards to Fish Mooney's henchman to becoming a full-blown regular on the series, as well as having, a legacy character in terms of Solomon Grundy, being given that as a character to make his own, and he's just done it so well. And so for me, yes, it was great to see just this level of calculation from Oswald Cobblepot for him to put it in place. It's a shame it happened to Butch Gilzean, but again, it's just like jaw drops at this moment. All the revenge of Gertrude Cobblepot. And so Tabitha is allowed to live as her loved one who's just been returned to his normal state has been shot. But I do like the moment that Penguin also says, and when I realize, or when I determine that you have suffered enough, then I will make a decision to kill you or not.
So if you get over this, if you find another partner, that's the moment when you'll die.
Absolutely.
It's such a great moment. And again, more fool us as fans of Gotham. We've done 129 episodes about this show. And we didn't guess the fact that Penguin would be sitting in waiting. As the phrase goes, revenge is a dish best served cold. And this is the coldest. This is 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He's been waiting in the wings and planning this since he knew Grundy came back, I suppose.
Do
is kind of that
not
point.
keep your eye off the Penguin. Is the moral of this tale. He is cold.
He certainly is. He certainly is. But we do at least get the moment where Tabitha tells Butch that she loves him, that he does go to his grave knowing that she loves him. That was one of the big central things for this character throughout this season, was the reason he wanted to come back was to be the man that Tabitha needed him to be. So at least we have that moment for them. But as I say, Penguin does tell Butch, this has nothing to do with you. I consider you a friend. This is all to do with Tabitha. So this is the wrapping up of Tabitha's story. We will see these two go head-to-head next season. We may even see Grundy come back next season. We don't know what the exact cure that Professor Strange gave to Grundy was.
Or did it work fully?
Well, we know it worked. We know he came back as Butch.
He looks more like him and so on, but maybe there's some residual Grundy in there.
But I absolutely love the procedure that was done by Professor Strange. I loved it's basically flush everything out of the system and then fill you up with these 3 people's blood. And points to just 3 poor people crying in the corner. The residents of Gotham are really going to have a bad time coming into the future. Let's get on to case note number 5, but this is just a tip of the iceberg with what Professor Strange is doing to them. Case note 5 is No Man's Land. I like that this is kind of taken from Barbara's thoughts when she's looking around at people around her going, there's only one thing wrong with Gotham, it's the men.
Yes.
So this is going to become No Man's Land. It is a huge story arc. We talked about it a bit last week. It's a huge story arc for the Batman characters and the family of Batman characters is this No Man's Land idea. In the comic books, it was an earthquake that happened which cut off the city, and the villains started to take over when the government shut it down and said, this is a war zone, you cannot go in and out of this place. We get little references here and there in the dialogue about the fact that Washington has cut them off, that the government have said nobody is to go in and out of Gotham, that they're going to evacuate it, but nobody's able to go in there, and they will evaluate the situation in future. And we see all of our main characters, all the people that we love, taking their stand and staying in the city. So we see our first big one really is Jim and Bullock, saying they're going to stay in the GCPD, joined very quickly by the wonderful Lucius Fox, who's taken one of Jerome's devices, which will power the GCPD and that area of the city for eternity.
Yeah,
if
so
necessary.
good. Yeah, really good.
Great hero moments for these characters. Really enjoyed that.
It was fantastic to see the Scarecrow there as well. We see a new character with the Orphan being all axy on some unfortunate soul.
So that is possibly Cassandra Cain, who took on the role of Batgirl at some point in the comic books. So Cassandra Cain has the name The Orphan in the comic books. People have been speculating that that's who it is. I'm not too sure that a person that becomes the Batgirl will be first seen hacking someone to bits in this room. It is
You never know.
It is the creepiest Saw-like moment that we've seen in Gotham so far, as the mother walks in with the mask on, and we see this kid on the ground killing someone. You see a dead body, another dead body, a woman who's skewered as she's walking through the scene. This seems like much more of a villain character than I would have been expecting by this particular description of the character, but really interesting. There was an interview with John Stevens, the executive producer, the guy who co-wrote this episode, saying the villains that he was expecting to see next season, and I was kind of going, oh, this is kind of a wish list. They haven't really started writing the episodes yet. He was saying these are coming up tonight on Gotham, so we're going to be playing them off next season. We see some dolls in the room around them. That's possibly a little nod to the ventriloquist, who we think is coming up. Hopefully played by Andrew Sellon, who played Mr. Penn. Hopefully he'll be playing the ventriloquist, and we'll see Scarface, his doll, who takes control of his mind. Very cool arc, but love to see that in the next season. But we get loads more as well, John.
Yeah, we have Mr. Freeze gets his own area. Firefly has a crew that takes down sort of an industrial area. Burn all of them.
And isn't it like she wants to set fire to 10-block radius around her? She's got her ring of fires going on.
It's just so good. You have Penguin taking up residence in a very opulent building. I would have said maybe it was the City Hall, but we know that that's been blown up.
Do you know who I think it might be? I think it might be the museum where Ra's al Ghul killed Bruce's friend. I think that was the circular area where the murder actually happened, but I'd need to go back and see it again. If you know Gothamites, let us know. You can send it. You can always send us an email at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com just to let us know. But it is an opulent place. It's a great place for Penguin. I love how small he looks and how powerful he looks in the middle of the room.
He has to kill a few people as well, just who've decided to squat there. We have then Scarecrow has his lab back at the house. It's really interesting that we didn't get to see Mad Hatter or Poison Ivy, which is unfortunate. Maybe that was just down to scheduling for this, but it would have been nice to see them. There's certainly not the Executioner either.
Yeah, true.
So there's a few people that are missing there. Not to say that they are gone and lost, but certainly the city is being carved up and divided into these different districts that each has their own ruler, which is absolutely straight out of the Arkham video game as well.
Also taken from No Man's Land.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, a nice little nod back to No Man's Land, the comic, but also to other references to that, such as the Batman video games, which is really, really good to see, actually.
Loved it.
It just shows you how good the story arcs for Batman and Gotham and any of the characters associated with the Gotham universe really is. It is one of the reasons why it is my favorite DC property. If not maybe one of the only DC properties that I really like and love to buy and to read. Because it's so dark, it's so terrifying, but it can be a whole range of different things. So this is absolutely fantastic. What we do see here as well is that Selina could be permanently damaged, and that Bruce ultimately here, as we said before, has to make this decision as to what he wants to do. He's searching for Jeremiah in amongst the rubble of Gotham at the time.
Beating his way through every criminal he can find.
Exactly. I think then we cut back to a few more villains carving up. We have Man-Bat in a church that is great to see. I presume he sucked their blood like Dracula.
Possibly a cool scene as well. Man-Bat as a character that obviously has been around in the comic books a lot. We did see a version of him in Fish Mooney's crew back in season 3. I'm not sure whether it's the same character. He's got a big beard, so his face is covered up, so I'm not sure if it's the same actor playing him or the same character, but it's so cool to just throw in these fun little bombs to go, guess what? If we get a season 5, you're going to get all of this here, guys.
Definitely.
You know, very, very cool. Really enjoyed that moment. But yes, as you say, Bruce makes his decision to stay on the new Dark Island, the new Gotham Island, sending Alfred off to take care of possibly a permanently paralyzed Selina Kyle. I think that'd be a really interesting storyline to see Selina in the wheelchair and having to take up the role of Oracle. It's so interesting, really, thinking that Camren Bicondova, when she first started in the show at 14 or 15 years old, she was a well-known dancer. That's where she came to on the show. They cast her because of her dancing. She hadn't really acted much before. And it would be really interesting for them to take it and kind of lay it at her feet now that she is and has developed into a great actress now on the show. It would be great to lay it at her feet and say, now you're here acting in this role of Oracle, who will help Bruce out and is a really important character in the comic books. While it would be awful not to see Catwoman, potentially we could see the character by the end of next season coming back as the Catwoman character. But I would love to see them give something really meaty to Selina Kyle being able to play this role as the support for Alfred and Bruce. That'd be quite cool.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Even if she's just outside of the city and controlling the communications to Bruce inside the city, something like that.
I like that idea. I mean, I have to say, I would like to see Selina Kyle be Selina Kyle, be proto young Catwoman. So they may not actually do it, but I think if they were to possibly go down that route, that idea I think would be really very cool to do.
You can have that one for free, Gotham TV writers.
And then, of course, the closing moments here, where Jim has set up a big spotlight to really cast some light on the shadows. And who arrives on top of the roof of the GCPD? Only Bruce Wayne. Really, really good. And of course,
it's like a bat attractor, isn't it?
It really is. It could be Mothman, of course, as well. But here we see the two of them coming together with a plan to work together as well, to go one block at a time to really save this city of Gotham. It's a really nice choice, because here laid out is, Bruce looking at his future. He has had notions of this from Ra's al Ghul, that he will become this Dark Knight, but as he says, he knows how to control his darkness. And so this is a really big moment for Bruce Wayne here, in terms of, again, moving towards not being Man-Bat, but Batman.
Exactly. But also, can I just say, what a great choice of the writers for this episode to make this moment matter. It's 4 seasons in, and do you remember, John, the first time we saw the trailer for the pilot episode of Gotham? It was left with that resounding moment of, there will be light, Bruce, there will be light. And you have Jim Gordon now standing on the roof, Bruce recounting that moment where they met each other in the alley for the first time. And what does Jim say to him? There is light.
Yes.
This is now the point where they've reached. If the series ended on season 4, episode 22, this would have been the final moment of Gotham, leading them into the future of Batman. And it's a great note to leave it on.
Definitely.
But as I said at the start of the podcast, I think they were totally trolling all of us fans to make us go out in the streets and set fire to things if they didn't come back and have these storylines that are going to be coming up in season 5. Great job for this episode.
Yeah. Really superb final moments. This chaotic, lawless Gotham with the glimmer of light.
Exactly.
And hope. For sure.
Great job. John, we normally do our Gotham moment of the week and our Gotham character of the week here. I'm going to call my moment of the week is, sadly, the death of Butch Gilzean. There's so many great moments in this episode. It's very hard to pick just one moment that is my moment of the week. But the death of Butch Gilzean was shocking, surprising, and we should have seen it coming with Penguin.
Yeah.
But we wanted our Butch Gilzean back. We've been praying for him to come back, to get more lines, to have his big moment in the show where he finally gets to say to Tabitha, I love you, and gets it reciprocated from her. He gets that moment and then taken out by a gunshot. That's my moment of the week.
I think it's mine as well, but I do have another 2 to throw in.
All right.
Exactly. As always, I have 3 moments of the week. I absolutely loved when Ra's al Ghul was stabbed at the hands of Bruce. I thought that effect, the sort of breaking china effect on his skin, like porcelain cracking, and then him just turning to dust. So good. You do really in the end feels sorry for Ra's al Ghul. How many times does he have to be turned into carpet dust?
Exactly.
Only to be hoovered up at some point by some unsuspecting cleaner. He's just dust, not dust, dust, not dust.
Dust,
skeleton,
part of Ra's al Ghul. Yeah.
Zombie, dust. Whatever. Really, really enjoyed that.
A nice touch as well. I think they're going to avoid the storyline in Gotham where Bruce goes off and trains with the League of Shadows. He has done some training with them.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of it in the past, but what they've slightly converted this into is Ra's is the reason that Bruce becomes the Dark Knight, becomes Batman, even though they're not going to use that word. The reason why he becomes the Dark Knight is because Ra's pushes him into it. Ra's is pushing him down this path. So he does have a central hand in forming him as Batman, but he may not necessarily be the one that he trained with to become.
No,
Batman,
absolutely.
which is a nice touch. I think it would be a little bit, I don't know, it'd be a little bit Arrow-like or something if they sent him off to an island to train for 4 seasons and he was away from all the rest of Gotham.
With a really weird haircut.
With a really weird wig. Yes, that would not be a fun way to treat Gotham. John.
And just quickly,
two,
the other one is definitely the bridges blowing up. I absolutely enjoyed that. Really epic. And all the villains getting their little cameo as the districts of villainous dark island Gotham are sort of being set out to the audience. So that was really good, for sure. In terms of character of the week, it has to be, for me, Butch Gilzean as well. I really enjoyed this character, and I can't believe that potentially he won't be there for season 5. So I really have to give a shout out to Butch Gilzean. And I think because normally we would take more of a cameo role,
a minor character,
I would really go with the Orphan. It was great seeing that scary loft with dolls, cribs, as this young kid with a very scary mask is hacking up some poor unfortunate, as even scarier mother turns up to just make sure that they're hacking up that body in the right way.
Yeah. So maybe we've misinterpreted Orphan, because if that's her mother turning up, pretty unlikely it's an orphan. But hey, that's what John Stevens said. So we'll go with him. They really looked like something out of The Purge, didn't they? Maybe that's it. Maybe The Purge is coming to the DC universe.
It is a little purgy what happens in this episode of Gotham with No Man's Land.
It certainly is. Yeah. From minor characters, as we usually do in our Gotham Character of the Week, to our major characters. My Gotham Characters of the Week are Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon. This moment at the end of this episode of Gotham is as iconic as Bruce standing with his first set of pads, I guess, to cover his face and his mask. That moment that we saw last season. This one's just as iconic, having the two of them standing over what will be the bat signal in future. Just absolutely great and lovely, lovely moments. But everybody had a great moment in this episode. John, with that said, how would you rate this episode? How many lightness out of the darkness would you give this?
How many bombs? Yeah, I hear you ask. I would give this 5 twin obsessions out of 5.
Yep.
I think, credit absolutely where credit is due. This was just a really exciting, dark, funny turn of events in Gotham.
Yeah.
Again, just so much going on, so much of the cast involved. The big revenge from Penguin towards Tabitha completely, for me, almost overtook everything else. It was such a small part, but you realize the sincerity of what Penguin has done, because this grudge goes back so long in the season. So for me, that is absolutely fantastic in an episode that brings you most of the cameos of all the villains that have been there in Gotham. You have some spectacular moments with Ra's al Ghul and Jeremiah as their plan begins to play out. All those explosions, the city hall, the bridges. You have an absolutely defining moment, and David Mazouz absolutely nails it as Bruce Wayne coming onto the GCPD Ruth as Jim has lit the beacon that will in future become the bat signal. So good.
Absolutely.
The pain that Bruce Wayne has in terms of being forced to confront Jeremiah as Selina is hospitalized, the pain of him having to make that choice between Selina and Gotham, really so good. Ed Nygma, Leslie Thompkins, all just interwoven really nicely, written so well, and delivered. I absolutely could not consider there being a no season 5 ultimately after this. It really just said, you have to give us season 5.
Yeah.
This needs to be finished as, and bookended as a start and a finish with regards to what the producers, the creators, the showrunner, the directors, the script writers, the actors, that what they want to do.
Yeah.
I really hope Butch Gilzean gets to find his way back to
Murder Slaughter Swamp.
well, absolutely, back to Gotham. It would be great to see him back there. I did also think that my theory that Killer Croc inhabits the sewers, that he may have just popped out for the sheer fun of it, because everything was going so crazily bad.
I love it, John. I totally agree with you. This is probably one of my favorites this season. It's quite difficult to review the episodes the way we do them on a weekly basis, not knowing what's coming up ahead and trying to rate them, because I think we've hit more 5 out of 5s this season.
Yeah, a lot. It's been very high this season.
But rightly so, is what I was going to say. This is the best season of Gotham so far. If they were going out on this episode, they'd be going out in a high. But I'm so glad this is just the finale of season 4 and not the end of the show. So excited to see what's going to happen in the future of Gotham. Let's get on to some feedback, John. I know you're not able to stay for all of the feedback. I'm going to drop the rest of the feedback in before the episode gets released. John, unfortunately, is not going to be here for that bit, but we've got a bit of feedback that came into us since the episode came out. Our first piece of feedback came from Doug Green over on over on Twitter. Doug says, I was going to leave you voicemail, but it would just be 90 seconds of screaming after that episode. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Doug.
Yeah, it really would. Over on Facebook, and of course you can join our Facebook group over at facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV podcast. Jason Wiley goes, hello Gothamites, this is my feedback for the season 4 finale. Wow, what a finale and what a season. So much going on. The ending with Riddler and Lee was rather tragic. What has Hugo got in store for them? Yeah, absolutely.
He looked really excited at the prospect to have
He
something.
looked like he was in a candy store for sure. It was nice to have Butch back to normal, but you knew something was up with Penguin grinning like a Cheshire cat. I really thought Tabby was done for this episode. I can't quite fathom why Raish came back from the dead only to be killed again with the same knife by Bruce. That whole plot just made no sense to me, as the motivation Bruce needed really came from Jeremiah. I also thought the whole Babs turning feminist arc was too on the nose as well, and really didn't serve anything.
Well, it served to give us the name of the episode. No Man's Land.
Absolutely. I think it's in terms of the whole of Gotham City being carved up into different districts, why not have a feminist district? And I think it wasn't so much a feminist arc, more that she just had been totally sort of over men and what they were doing in Gotham. I mean, given that she was involved with the ogre, I can kind of slightly see why she would have maybe something to make her more suspicious.
Well, absolutely. But even when she became the Demon's Head, we had the male members of the organization go after her and go to kill her because they don't believe that she should be the one to lead them. Yet here they come after Race has been killed a second time going, oh, well, now we'll come and join you, even though they fought against her. The whole point of her arc really is, screw men, they're out. This isn't so much a feminist arc. This is a woman's only arc. We can control the city and would do a better job than all of those crappy men that have been so bad for Gotham over the last few seasons.
Absolutely. Although I have to say, I wouldn't like to be one of those two dead male totems either side of the sign proclaiming that this is no man's land as such.
Just one other thing quickly. The reason why Ra's came back was to control Jeremiah. He came back and gave Jeremiah the plan to blow up the bridges around the city. So arguably, his motivation came from Jeremiah for Bruce to stay and be the Dark Knight, but that would only came there because of Ra's, right? So, so that's why Ra's came back. It is a shame that he keeps getting killed. After,
it really is
being back in
absolutely.
town for a day. He doesn't get to go out for a pint or a nice meal or anything. He comes back, says his plan, and then somebody stabs him and kills him again. I don't think it's the last we've seen of Alexander Siddig, though.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not, because he's a great actor, and I have to say I really enjoyed his turn as both Ra's al Ghul and zombie Ra's al Ghul as well.
Yes.
Jason goes on, I did love the brief introductions we got to the masked mother and orphan, as well as the man-bat creature. Also loved the fully realised Scarecrow with his hat, and seeing brief shots of Freeze and Firefly claiming their turf.
Oh, yes.
When Bruce looked up towards the light and him meeting Jim on the rooftop was a scene we've all been waiting for. Jim giving people a beacon of hope and Bruce facing his destiny. It's going to be agonizing waiting until 2019 for the final season, but let's hope they use the time well to give us a satisfying conclusion to this amazing show. Absolutely, Jason. I think you've put that in absolutely a perfect set of sentences. Really great season, great episode, and really big things. And I'm expecting big things from this, because I think what they've done in this season has been really quite epic. It's been really sort of broad strokes, personalized, really showing off the characters of Gotham and the storylines that you can do. So really spot on, and cannot wait until 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for that, Jason. Oliver Hins also sent us an email to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. He says, hey, Gotham TV Podcast, what an insane last episode and an awesome season. The second half of this season has been absolutely world-class, in my opinion, and thanks to you, I was able to enjoy every episode twice. As to the last episode, I don't even know where to start. Every second of it was a nail-biter, but the Butch scene stands out for me. I totally didn't expect them to bring him back and then just take him away again. I even forgot the Penguin still hated Tabitha for killing his mother. He does hide it very well,
He really
doesn't he?
does. Absolutely keep your eye on the bird.
Oliver goes on to say, it broke my heart, but at the same time, it was great to see Penguin back to the manipulative, evil genius he has been before. He is also my character of the week, even though I almost picked Professor Strange, since it was so good to see this great actor back on the show. Nice pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good to see BD Wong back. And Oliver says, I also enjoyed that Babs was able to defeat Ra's, and I wonder what happens now to the demon's head. But she is still one of my absolute favourite characters in Gotham, and she deserves more screen time. Having Penguin, the Sirens, and the different other maniacs we saw at the end in an abandoned Gotham, together with the rise of Batman, the last season simply cannot disappoint. But I still hope that there will be as many episodes as possible. Finally, a big thank you to you guys for making my mornings on the train better. Absolutely love your podcast. Have a great summertime, Gothamites. From Oliver.
Thank you so much, Oliver. It's really great to get that feedback, and we hope we bring you Gotham loveliness on the train in the mornings.
For many years to come,
Yes, exactly. Maybe, just maybe, there will be a season 6 as well.
Absolutely, but at least we've got Pennyworth to at least talk about a bit more of the characters.
Pennyworth as well should be really good if they go down the Earth 1 route, even though that just really gives you a glimpse into Alfred's pre-Wayne Manor valet experiences. It should be really good, because in some ways that was part of the basis for Alfred in this whole series that is Gotham, that he's ex-military. You know, he's known Thomas Wayne for a long time. They have a particular connection, and he's more involved with Wayne Enterprises and the Wayne family than you maybe get the idea of. So that should be a really interesting look into this character, and certainly much beloved character after Sean Pertwee has provided such a great load of acting chops for this Alfred in Gotham.
I think he's now got the most screen time of all the Alfreds, if you think about 88 episodes of this TV show. I know the Batman series in the 66 went for a lot longer in terms of number of episodes, but I even think that David Mazouz playing Bruce Wayne for all of those episodes probably has more screen time as Bruce Wayne than any other.
Yeah.
Would I be about right in that?
I'd say so.
At least by the end of the 100 episodes, he most likely will anyway. John, do you want to get on to our quick Facebook feedback?
Some short Facebook feedback here. Sam Bachter goes, wow, what a way to end the season. I need time to process it all. I got chills seeing Bruce and Gordon on the roof at the end with the proto-bat signal, and when Bruce was standing alone after Alfred left with the ambulance and the music got all loud. Absolutely. Brilliant moment there, and such a defining moment for Bruce Wayne, as well as Jim Gordon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is where obviously Jim Gordon is going to get the mustache, because he can't find a razor in all this chaos.
That is the reason they're not starting the episodes of Gotham until 2019. They're going to give Jim Gordon or Ben McKenzie time to grow that mustache out, right? He's been growing the beard. We've seen in a few photographs from the Deadpool 2 premiere. He's been growing the beard out, so I think he's just getting ready to shave that off and shave it down into the mustache. They're in a city that has no electricity. If he goes home at any time, he can't get his razor out. Or maybe he'll be shaving in the dark and just end off the moustache and go, hey, that looks pretty good on me.
Yeah.
Caroline Wells, also over the Facebook group, says, Firefly got a corner in Gotham. The Sirens got a corner. Freeze got a corner. Scarecrow got a corner. Why is there no Mad Hatter corner?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, just like you said, John.
It was so strange not to see Mad Hatter, because such a fantastic character, played so well. I mean, even the toy maker, we know that his son is on the loose. That would have been great to have seen a little bit of toy maker, and as well Poison Ivy. No Poison Ivy, so it's not just the Mad Hatter. It's a real shame that these areas for these big villainous characters, especially Mad Hatter and Poison Ivy, weren't shown. I have to say, it's the only bit of this episode where I'm like, it would have been good if you'd shown those, because yes, Poison Ivy's been there from season 1 in various forms.
Yeah.
And Mad Hatter, what a great character, and what a great bring to Gotham that character has been.
Do you know what I'd love if season 5 opens up with Poison Ivy in her new residence in the national park or the old botanic gardens or something like that, where she's surrounded by her plants, owning an area of the city, and that's how you kind of start off season 5.
That would be great too.
Cool little shout out. I know a show like this, it's the biggest cast on TV really at the moment of a regular show. They did such a great job of getting so many characters back, so I can't begrudge them for missing out on a few of our favorites. We still don't know what's happened to Falcone. She was in Sophia Falcone. She was in a coma the last time we saw her. We don't know whether she got taken off the island or whether she's out. We know that she hopefully will be coming back. She is definitely left alive according to her last episode there. Caroline also says, was that really Martin at the end of the episode or another freaky kid? That's the orphan that we're talking about. To me, I'm not sure. It did look a little bit like Martin's haircut, but But I did think it was a female character, just by as the camera pans around the front. But I think they've kind of left it open that it could be Martin, it could be somebody else. Martin was the kid that was Oswald's sidekick earlier on in the season. Loved the character as well, and hopefully we'll get to see him back. Caroline finally says, why don't I have more ice cream in the house? I need a hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we all need a hug.
I think we all do.
Especially from Drew Powell. I think we all want to give him a hug, and hopefully we'll be able to at Heroes Villains Fan Fest next week.
Can't wait. Also, our final bit of short Facebook feedback here is from Johnny Reese. That episode was written so that if they didn't get renewed, the fans would have rioted. Absolutely. I love that idea. There would have been a call to arms and boycotting galore. Good strategy, really. Definitely. Also,
Johnny, that is brilliant feedback. Thank you so much for that. I think you're totally right. As I mentioned it throughout the episode. It's absolutely, totally what they were trying to do. If we would have rioted, we would have rioted if that would happen.
Yeah,
We'd
absolutely.
be down the streets in Carolina, going burning things down until we got all the way to New York to siege the Fox offices up there.
Thank you, Johnny, for that feedback.
Just a couple of shout outs because we're at the last episode of episode 22 of the 4th season of Gotham. A couple of shout-outs. Quick shout-out to Supercell320, a.k.a. Sam Legit. He does reviews over on YouTube for Gotham at the JVS channel. Go check them out. We've had tons of support over the last 127 episodes of Gotham. We're going to be going on a little bit of a break, but we will be talking about some comic books coming up. We'll be talking about probably No Man's Land at some point later in the season. We'll be doing some round table discussions as we usually do to wrap up the season, but because we've got a bit of a longer break going into January next year, we're not too sure exactly when these are going to happen. We're going to give it a little bit of time to breathe, so make sure you stay subscribed to Gotham TV Podcast over at gothamtvpodcast.com. But I wanted to give a few shout outs to some of the people that have helped us. DC World have been hugely supportive of us ever since we met them. Check out DC World over on their website and over on Facebook. They have some great articles on there, and it has some great reviews of Gotham. Actually really enjoying reading those.
Yeah, definitely. Gotham Addicts as well. Soul Boys and girls here between Gotham TV Podcast and Gotham Addicts.
We have been around so long together that it feels like we started out together, doesn't it?
It's been great with the Gotham Addicts following Gotham along, and we have another season to go, so it's absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
There is Mike, the movie guy, Gotham Hub, Gotham Undercover, and the Gotham Lights pod as well.
Yeah, we know how difficult it can be to record 22 episodes a season about one show, especially when the ratings are starting to tank a little bit. It's kind of difficult to keep, talking about it, but we know we're talking to the fans. We know we're talking to people that love the show Gotham, and we are fans. We absolutely love the show. So just standing beside Gotham Undercover and Gotham Lights pod particularly, who've done a great job of covering the show as well. Thank you guys for your support. John, after all of that,
the prize draw.
Yes. Let's get into the prize draw, and then I'll do the rest of the feedback after the prize draw.
Exactly. So the prize draw here is coming from the the cap of Agamotto, the Doctor Strange baseball cap.
Not Professor Strange, the Doctor Strange.
The Doctor Strange. Yes, this is a Marvel DC crossover here.
Yes, so this is
the results have been tallied, the names have been put into the hat, and of course our auditors, PwC, have... No, they haven't.
They haven't at
We've
all.
put the names into the hat of everyone that has submitted in their Gotham moment of the week to us through any different channels, whether it's Facebook, email, on Twitter, and we are going to pull at random from the hat. There we go. There is all the names.
Excellent.
Off you go.
I'm gonna get. Okay, let's see who wins the prize of that awesome penguin statue.
Or if they don't win that because it's never made in the end, then a big family size pack of crisps and a massive bar of dairy milk.
No, didn't we say we were going to paint up one of our Daleks as the penguin? Wasn't that what we were going to do? Anyway, the winner. Excellent. The winner is Claire Payne. I'm going to show that to the camera to show I'm not lying. Claire Payne. Claire Payne is almost the third host to this episode.
She really is, yeah.
So happy you've won this prize, Claire. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. I'm actually expecting a little bit of feedback from Claire Payne to come in after we finish recording this episode, so I will be putting it in, but congratulations to you, Claire. We will get in contact with you. We'll get your address and we'll make sure that gets delivered to you in the UK as soon as it comes out. But congratulations.
Big congratulations to Claire. And thank you as well to everyone who has written in, whether it was with their moment of the week or whether it was just with great feedback on everything to do with Gotham this season or anything to do with the renewal or anything to do with the podcast. It is nothing without the fans and the community of Gotham interacting together, whether it's on this podcast through your feedback, whether it is meeting, chatting at Heroes Villains Fan Fest next week, or at any other moment. It is so good to be part of the great Gotham family. Absolutely. And of course, if you want to share that Gotham family and community as well, please head on over and subscribe to our podcast. And you can rate us, leave a review, because to share the love is to share the podcast. And of course, it's another spoke on that wheel of the Gotham community.
Absolutely. I'm going to leave a little space here so that I can put in the feedback and it doesn't seem so awkward to just our audio listeners. just there. That's the space. Thanks so much for joining us over on YouTube. Really cool to see. Hopefully you guys getting to see us. If you see us at Heroes Villains Fan Fest in London next weekend at the end of May, come over and say hi.
Absolutely.
Come over and tell us that you # renewed Gotham TV podcast. It's going to be a bit of a celebration. We heard Cory Michael Smith and Robin Lord Taylor talking about the fact that the cast haven't actually been together. They've all been travelling quite a lot. And he's saying London is the next time that a major portion of the cast are going to get together. And it's going to be a party for them to celebrate the renewal. They all got their jobs for next year.
Yeah, really, really good. Yeah, we'll be there at Heroes Villains Fan Fest, so please come on by, say hello if you see us. And of course, maybe there is a nice pub just down the way from the Olympia, so I'm sure you could always find us in there as well.
Actually, yeah.
And we could do a little Gotham TV podcast drinking session in the pub as well, just by Olympia.
Any excuse for a Guinness. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next season, but we will be back in a little bit in the meantime as well. We don't know exactly what date we're coming back, but just make sure you stay subscribed so you hear all of our news. Follow us over on Twitter. We usually update with news and chats and retweets and all that kind of stuff over at Gotham TV Podcast on Twitter. Obviously, that's kind of our thing. Over on our other channel, over on Defenders TV Podcast, we have got another movie review coming up. We've got Deadpool 2.
Deadpool
just
number
came out in the
2.
cinema. We've seen it.
Numero
it's hilarious.
deux.
If you're an adult,
really good,
and like adult type jokes, it's hilarious.
So good.
Go watch it. Join us over on DefendersTVPodcast.com for that review. We've got our Avengers Infinity War review already up over there, and we'll be coming back with Luke Cage, the Netflix series. Will be our next series that we'll be covering over there.
Yes, that is from June 22nd.
June 22nd. That's it.
With our Luke Cage season 2 coverage.
Yeah.
If you are a Marvel Netflix fan.
Or subscribe to it all on tvpodcastindustries.com, where all of our podcasts go together. So we have them all in one big pile. So Gotham one week, and then Defenders next week, and then Daredevil another week, and Jessica Jones, and then a Marvel movie, and then a comic book. Hey, get them all over on TV Podcast Industries. Thanks so much for joining us, Gothamites. John, do you want to say the final farewell?
Yeah, absolutely. As always, thank you so much for listening. I'm off to no man's land. And then if I survive it and I either don't get burnt or frozen or shot by the penguin or taken and eaten by Man-Bat, or I meet a really, really dodgy looking little orphan, then I'll speak with you next time.
Well, just make sure you don't go into the Sirens District anyway, John. Thanks so much.
I can rock a dress. Bye.
Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.